Vanderbilt's schedule in 2025 will be very similar to the schedule in 2024. They're going to play Virginia Tech again in the non-conference. And, of course, the SEC games, they're going to be the same. You just flip the home and away. So let's break it down. Here is that full schedule. And we'll first look at the non-conference. So in the non-conference, they're going to play Charleston Southern. They will play on the road at Virginia Tech this time, of course. That was kind of the sign last year when they upset Virginia Tech that, hey, this Vanderbilt team might actually be pretty good. They did that early in the season. This time, though, it's going to be tough on the road there at Virginia Tech. Then they've got Georgia State and Utah State. So, not too tough of a non-conference schedule. You look at who they play at home and away this year. So in the SEC, this year they'll play LSU, Missouri, Auburn, and Kentucky at home. They played them on the road last year. And this year on the road, they'll play South Carolina, Alabama, Texas, and Tennessee. Now, that is a brutal road schedule. I mean, that is very, very tough. You could argue that those might be the 4 toughest teams on their schedule, and they play all of them on the road. So a very tough road schedule. But if you're a team like Vanderbilt, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you're not going to beat those teams anyway, and I realize they did beat Alabama last year, but if, let's say, they're not going to beat those teams, you want those teams that you might can beat at home. And, you look at Missouri, Auburn, Kentucky, maybe even LSU. Those are games Vanderbilt could possibly win. So I think this actually makes the schedule much better for Vanderbilt. You've got, let's say they lose to Virginia Tech as well. You lose all 5 road games. That still gives you 7 opportunities at home against teams that you've at least got a shot at beating. So getting back to a bowl game, I think, is very possible with this schedule. So they'll open up again with Charleston Southern on August 30th. That'll be their first game of the season. Then they go on the road to play Virginia Tech in week 2. That'll be September 6th. And then it's another road game. So back-to-back road games here. First it's Virginia Tech. Then they open up SEC play on September 13th on the road there at South Carolina. Very tough back-to-back road games there. But then they get a little bit of a break there with Georgia State on September 20th and then Utah State on September 27th. And then another SEC road game. This time it's at Alabama on October 4th. So you look at this first stretch before that first bye week, they've got 6 games. They do have, half their schedule already out of the way there before that first bye week. You've got you got 3 tough road games: Virginia Tech, South Carolina, and Alabama. And then you got 3 easier home games. So you feel pretty good about at least being 3-3. And then you go to the rest of the schedule where you've got 4 out of your final 6 games at home, and you've only got to win 3 of those. Again, the schedule kind of sets up pretty well for Vanderbilt if they're able to get some of these wins at home. In games that'll be tough. LSU will be tough. Missouri will be tough. Auburn will be tough. Even Kentucky. So it's going to be tough, but the path is there with this schedule. So after that first bye week, they'll play LSU on October 18th, and then it's at home again for Missouri. So back-to-back home games there against LSU and Missouri. Then they'll play on the road at Texas November 1st. That obviously going to be a very, very tough one. And then you have Auburn at home November 8th. So let's say they win those 3 home games. They beat LSU, Missouri, and Auburn. You make it to a bowl game. If you just maybe win 2 of those games, then you've got a chance to get to a bowl game if you beat Kentucky. You've got that second bye week before Kentucky. I'm telling you, this Kentucky game could be really big for Vanderbilt. That could wind up being the game that decides if they get back to a bowl game again. But it's at home. It's after a bye week. Perfect spot. And then you close things out with Tennessee on the road November 29th. So I do really like the way this schedule sets up for Vanderbilt. Not in a way that it's going to give them a chance to get to the playoff or anything like that, but it sets up in a way that gives them a great opportunity to possibly get back to 6-6, back to a bowl game, and maybe even a little better than that. Again, it's hard to say just how good this Vanderbilt team is going to be. I don't think they're going to be in the top half of the SEC, but again, they surprised last year, so we'll see if they'll make any strides forward this year. And again, a schedule that, it's tough. You got some games that you circle and say, they're probably not going to win those games, but it does give them some opportunities. So, yeah, if I'm a Vandy fan, overall, I like this schedule for 2025.